You actually kind of just touched on this with the part about shame. I think women in particular are made to feel a lot of shame, like you said, about if they're a single mother or if they're of a certain age and don't have a partner. And definitely in the example you gave earlier, I found myself in a similar situation before. So it's like that shame that we're made to feel about being duped somehow, like it's our fault or our responsibility. So I guess I would just love to know how you were able to work through the shame specifically, and if it's something you're still working on, like what kinds of tools and coping mechanisms you have to work through those feelings.
So for the shame specifically, I couldn't do it on my own. I had to seek professional help. My thoughts became so deep and so sad, and I felt so worthless. I really felt invisible. And I didn't feel that way all the time. I felt that way when I had hormones, when I was having Issa, but it also came back into my life when he was around 6 or 7 years old. I just kept looking at him and I couldn't believe how much time had passed. You know, sometimes you see the movie and the girl struggling with the little baby, but by time he's 2, she meets someone in the grocery store and it's like it's all fixed. And he's getting bigger and I'm like, well, damn, is he going to be 18 and this isn't going to get fixed? So I had like a second round of panic that came into me as I seen him growing. And I really just went to therapy because the shame started to grow. At first, I was ashamed that I had just a baby by myself, but then I was ashamed that I was single, and then I was ashamed about my career choices, and then I just realized it was just all of me, and I was going through. My favorite quote right now is comparison is a thief of joy. So because I was feeling terrible, I was looking at other people and I just felt ashamed. I knew hairdressers that had rich husbands, so I'm just like, well, why can't I do that? You know, or I knew women that were pulling in 6 figures by themselves. I couldn't understand why it felt like I was working so hard and did all the things that my parents taught me to do. And I still felt like I was going in a big circle and I wasn't getting anywhere on my own or with a partner. So it was just all across the board. And when I went to therapy and realized what the cognitive distortions were and how many of them I go through on a daily basis and identifying them every time I'm having one, it's kind of like realizing that you're seeing a mirage in a desert and knowing it's not real. And that's what changed everything for me. Every time I started doing that, me being like, wait, stop. This is not real. You're being extra. This is the part that's real, and this is the part that you're doing that's taking you to the terrible place. So now I just stop at the reality, but not all the rest. Like, yes, I'm a single mother, but it doesn't mean that I'm worthless and doomed to be single until the day I die. I just made all of that up. I have no crystal ball. I don't even know what tomorrow brings. The only part of that thought that was true is that I'm a single mom. So really stopping myself. I only don't stop myself when I'm thinking something amazing. I'm gonna make this and then this and then this and then this. I just let myself run all the way to the top. But the running in the downward direction, I had to stop that to save my life. It made me so sad. But I needed help to answer the question. 2 therapists in 3 years, and yes, I'm still working on it, but it's not as intense and crippling as it used to be.
I really relate to that a lot, and I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that, because again, I think it's hard enough when we're getting the stigma and the shame from outside, and then when you realize you're doing it to yourself, it's like a double whammy because it's coming from multiple directions. And then it's like you were saying, it's your job, it's your success as an individual, your lack of partnership, your lack of success with a partner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and then it kind of spirals out of control. So I really appreciate you touching on that, because I think once we kind of peel back the layers, we can't control what others are doing or thinking about us, but we can control the ways that we talk to ourselves or think of ourselves.
Yeah, that was the top one. My self-talk was definitely out of control. So in the book, I gave some examples of some of the things I used to tell myself. They are really outrageous. I had to put the paper on the pen to show it, just in case anybody else felt like they could relate. I wanted them to see mine and just think how similar are hers to mine, so they could see what happens when you do this to yourself, because it's a lot of work to get out. So like the deeper you dig the hole, the more work. Do you ever see anybody see Batman Returns when he fell in the cave and he had to like work his way out? So the deeper you dig it, the harder it is to get back to zero. Because getting out of the hole, I'm not sure I consider that success. It's just ground level. So, but you find a great appreciation for the ground level when you've been far underground for too long.